All right, hello, Stardusters. Thank you for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. I am your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, your esoteric philosopher. So let's get ready to get into it. Okay, so this is a private video for members only. Hey, Mr. Hotel, Silent D, Kathy B is in the house. Okay, shout out to my moderators, Terry Hidden, Claudette. Okay, let's get ready to get into it. Orange Moon. Okay, so those who aren't here can catch this later. All right, but pay attention because questions. Hey, Jonah, stop that planet. I want to get off. Okay, pay attention because some of the information on this live is going to be used in the trivia on Friday. Yes, we're going to have trivia on this channel on Friday. Okay, for members only. All right, with that all being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Likes up, everyone please go ahead and like. We can't share because it's for members only. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen to show this PowerPoint presentation because today I'm going to talk about heaven and hell. Which one are you going to when you leave this world? Are you going to either? Is there such a place? And if so, how do we get there? Okay, so let's talk about it. Hey, Claudette. All right, so let's talk about it. Likes up. Hey, I am Joy. With that all being said, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Are you going to heaven or hell? How do you get there? Head. That's the top of the body. Now, this contains your consciousness, as we already know, and I've spoken to you on several occasions, specifically those of you in the higher frequency memberships. We've talked about the subconscious mind and how much, of our brain is controlled through our subconsciousness. Okay, now the Most High visits us in our consciousness. This is why when you pray, very, very often people will pray just in their minds. They don't say the words out audibly. They speak to themselves almost telepathically because the Most High speaks to us through our consciousness. When you have things like premonitions or precognition and intuition, you say something told me not to do this, something told me not to go there. That's the Most High communicating with you. Sometimes it's the ancestors, but either way, you're being spoken to and communicated with through your consciousness. Rising into your higher self is becoming your godlike self or awakening your Christ consciousness. That's what we call it. Don't forget to get those likes up, beloveds. The home of the crown chakra and the third eye. That is the head. Okay? The crown chakra is your highest chakra. The crown chakra on the top of your head. Okay? And remember, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I've told you about how what goes on in the cosmos also goes on within our body. The crucifixion is allegorical in the Bible. When we talk about the crucifixion, there are two that occur, one in the cosmic universe and one that occurs within us. That's why they say God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven, because as I told you before, the zodiac wheel in the sky pretty much dictates and determines our characteristics, okay, that we're born under because of our astrological zodiac sign, the 12 constellations that follow the direct path of the sun. Metaphysical meaning of heaven. Well, heaven, the Christ consciousness, the realm of divine mind, a state of consciousness in harmony with the thoughts of God. Heaven is everywhere present. It is the orderly, lawful adjustment of God's kingdom in man's mind, body, and affairs. You create your own heaven as well as your own hell. Jesus, all of those claiming intimate acquaintance with spiritual things, gave heaven definite location. This is in the Bible. The kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. Heaven is within every one of us. A place, a conscious sphere of mind, having all the attraction described or imagined as belonging to heaven. But this kingdom within is not material. You see, it's spiritual. kingdom of God is within you. It's in your head, in your own mind. The kingdom. The kingdom. What does a king wear? A king wears a crown. So your crown chakra. The kingdom. The head is referred to as a dome. If you've ever seen a skull in a biology class or a science class, and you look up into the skull, it looks like a dome. That's what it's shaped like. That's why they call the head the dome. You've heard gangsters even say, I'll give you 2 to the dome. Pay attention. Right? Now, with that all being said, let me enlarge this a little bit more so you all can see it. There we go. Heaven and earth, 2 states of mind. The ideal and the manifestation, according to Revelation 21:1. We are to have new ideals with manifestations in the earth to correspond. Let me see if I can adjust this so it's not between the lines. There we go. Now, the Lord's Prayer, the zodiac wheel in the sky. God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, we just talked about that. You all excuse me while I'm correcting some of this stuff. Okay, here we go. God visioned 2 planes of consciousness, the heaven and the earth, or more properly, the heavens and the earth. One is the realm of pure ideas, the other of thought forms. Heaven is the orderly realization of divine ideas. Earth is the manifestation of these ideas. Heaven, firmament of the consciousness of truth that has been formulated and established. Now, heaven, restoration to faith and spirit and the ultimate dominance of the good in all men will finally restore man to the heavenly consciousness from which he descended. That means people are going to wake up. And when people wake up, they will be rising into their higher selves. But of course, they have to do the work first. Now, let's talk about the soul. The SOUL soul and the SOLE soul and how they relate to one another. Okay, soul, SOUL, the spiritual or immaterial part of a human being regarded as immortal because the soul lives on forever. The soul is an energy, and energy can't be created nor destroyed, only transformed and transferred. Now, the soul, SOLE, the undersurface of a person's foot. But what's the connection, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked because the soul connects us to everything that has to do with our higher selves, our elevated consciousness, the spiritual, magical, holy, moral place of our belief systems, all things esoteric and invisible in life. These are some of the things that some of us don't know about because we have not been actively getting in tune with our higher selves, raising our vibrations and frequencies. So we don't know about these things yet. Those would be the family members of you who just, talk crazy, don't believe, what you're talking about when you tell them that the Bible is not to always be taken literally, that some of the things in there, in fact, are allegories. And then you start to explain it, and to them, you just sound crazy. To them, you just sound crazy. Now, the soul connects us to our physical presence as humans with 2 feet, walking on this planet face day to day with desires, urges, joys, and tragedies propelled by nature and nurture. To be fully human is to be acutely aware of and motivated by both. I'm sorry, you all may see that Some of these slides don't have pictures, and that's because I was in a rush and forgot to add them on some of the slides. But never fear, because I'm adding them as I go, as you can see. Now, to live by the soul, SOLE, is to be grounded in the doings of, the goings on of day to day life, to be rational, to be pragmatic in the fight for survival, for food, for shelter, for happiness, and for love, to be engaged with politics, culture, society, to contribute to the workforce, to the family, to the community, and to be organized and efficient and diligent in the world that is very clearly around us. See, that's the thing. We have to be grounded. Some of us are not. Also, I tell you to go outside, and take off your shoes and walk barefoot through the yard or the park. You're grounding yourselves. You're making yourself more in tune with nature. Okay? You're allowing yourself to vibrate with the same frequency as the earth's crust. Right? When you do that, when you ground yourself, when you go out and sun gaze, you're making yourself in tune, putting yourself in tune with nature. Something many people don't do. Pay attention. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. To live by the soul. Now let's talk about that. To live by the soul is to step in line with the ancestors, the elders, and the wise ones who came before us to teach us the ways of living for a greater purpose, for a divine cosmic purpose, to experience happiness in the giving of ourselves, in the ignoring of our desires. You see, you can't be easily tempted. Someone who just falls for anything because you're caught up with the ways of the world. Okay, you have to be grounded. You have to be doing the work. Can't get caught up with temptations. You have to be, that old saying, it's better to give than to receive. Well, that's what we all should be doing. When you're on your spiritual journey, you'll find that it feels so much better to give very often than to receive. Now, for you who are selfish, I'm sure you don't agree with that logic, but I absolutely do. That's why I enjoy giving you guys the ebooks that I work so hard to put together on Trivia Fridays. All right? That's exactly why. It feels better to give than to receive. Pay attention. Now, the soul is in connection to whatever religious or spiritual belief one may have or hold. And for those who do not hold spiritual beliefs, well, the soul is still that which connects us to the elegant, grand, infinite unknown, the magical design of the perfect atom in an expanding universe. You all should be taking notes. Should be taking notes on this. Pay attention. There we go. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. To live purely by the soul in every moment of the day is the calling for some, but not for all. I mean, we can't all be monks, priests, shamans, hermits, and oracles, can we? We can't all, be out here prophesying stuff. Some of us don't have the wherewithal to do so, and some of us, quite frankly, wouldn't know how to do it if we have the gifts, because we're not receptive to it. We don't believe in it. We think people sound crazy when they're talking about spiritual gifts and being in tune and prophesying things and all that. And there's a lot of fakes and frauds. So that's one reason some people don't believe in it. And you may never have experienced these things. Be excellent in your material, soulful, SOLE, soulful life by making a good living, experiencing exciting things with all that is natural and all that is earned. Raise a family, engage in social and cultural constructs, be organized and diligent in all dealings, no matter how small. Understand your emotions and be aware of your actions whether they're just or unjust. And that's important too, to be aware of your actions, because some people absolutely do not like to take accountability. They don't want to be aware or responsible for their own actions and anything that they do that their own soul, SOLE, led them to, because you get to walk your path. You get to choose the direction of which you're going to go, and your SOLE souls will lead you to that. Right? Now, if you're going down a path of destruction, well, you've no one to blame but yourself, because we all have choices. God gives us all the freedom to choose. It's called free will. And some people choose to go in the wrong direction, down the wrong path. And when people call them out on it, all they want to do is point the finger of blame and shame at other people and act as though these are the ones who brought them to it, when it was in fact themselves. But in doing so, be equally excellent in a soulful life, in the connection to the higher self, which senses a desire to live for something beyond oneself. That is about being selfless rather than selfish. You start to care more about other people. You start to be more empathetic and sympathetic towards other people's plights. You start to understand and try to even help and give people, offer them advice and consultations, trying to tell them from your own experiences, trying to help them to rise above the low vibrational things they may be going through. You try to help them to evolve into their higher selves. Okay, which senses a desire to live for something beyond oneself, to go beyond physical desires and make our world greater and more extraordinary. You want to help people ascend when you are truly on a spiritual journey. You want to help people to do better, to rise into their higher selves. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And what are some of the ways and things that people can do to rise into their higher selves? Well, they can start by meditating. Start by meditating, praying, conducting spiritual rituals. Remember, I said spiritual rituals. I'm not talking about witchcraft. The word ritual is actually inside of the word spiritual. You can do full moon rituals. You can do rituals to the ancestors, to the Most High, things like that. And you can, of course, start saying positive things to other people, specifically to yourself. Self-talk is very important when you're on your spiritual journey and trying to evolve. Positive affirmations. Let the soul inspire the steps, the soul. Let the soul, S-O-U-L, inspire the steps the soul, S-O-L-E, takes. Let the soul experience the rapture of the world that surrounds each and every one of us to better illumine the soul. That's what we should be doing on a daily. Like I said, some people don't want to own up to their own responsibilities. We all make the choices of which way we go in life. Your soul is your map. Your S-O-U-L is your map. Your S-O-L-E soul is your helm. And you are the captain. And what is a helm? Well, that's like something you steer. Like if you're on a boat, something that you would steer the boat with, right? So you're the captain of your own ship. The captain of your own ship. Like that nursery rhyme. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Remember that? Your body is the vessel. Your body is a body of water. That's why we talk about being in the same boat, okay? Being the captain of our own ships. That's why we use those terms. Ahead in the clouds. Pay attention. Ahead in the clouds with feet on the ground. Keep your vibrations high and your feet firmly planted in truth. The heel of your feet and hell. Let's talk about how those are related. The heel of your feet and hell. Heel and hell, or hell and heels, are related to your lower chakras. Has to do with survival mode and animal instincts. Now, if you look at this picture here, you see the heels are down towards the lower chakra areas. Now, closing off the lower chakras. This is a continuity between the dominant states of consciousness that you are in at the time of death. And I want you all to pay attention to this. Let me add the picture real quick before I get into this. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Let me just add a picture of the lower chakras. Here we go. Make my print a little smaller. Now, pay attention to this part. Closing off the lower chakras. There is a continuity between the dominant states of consciousness you are in at the time of death and what you experience after death. The goal is to aim for a higher world where the momentum, or when the momentum wins, when the momentum winds down, that's when we are reborn. We function in about 3 chakras, and from that group, we can go up or down. Closing off the lower chakras is the work that needs to be done. It can only be done in a physical body. Okay? It can only be done in a physical body. That means if you haven't closed off those lower chakras, and if you haven't stopped vibrating low and being, low vibrational and all of that, placing yourself in a metaphorical hell of your own making, if you haven't stopped doing that, by the time you leave this world and your life ends, well, guess what? That's the energy that you leave here with. So you leave here with low vibrational energy, you're going to end up in hell. That's the hell, a hell of your own making, not some place where there is fire and brimstone and gnashing of teeth. No, a hell that you put yourself in. Pay attention. If that's the energy that you have when you leave here. Now, when at the moment of death, you enter the astral plane, you are only in the consciousness of the chakras that were most active within you during the later part of your lifetime. And accordingly, you function in one of the astrolokas until the impetus of these chakras is expended. So you leave here being low down, mean and nasty. You see this all the time when you see people who basically, when you see demons, you see these malevolent spirits, these angry ghosts. These are people who left here in a low vibration, operating from their lower chakras rather than the higher chakras. This is why they end up coming back and haunting people, doing all sorts of nefarious things. This is why. Because it's how you leave here. It's the energy that you have while you're here goes with you. Because remember, energy can't be created or destroyed. It's simply transferred and transformed from one thing to another, one place to another. So if you're in this realm and you have low vibrational, nefarious, wicked energy, you're going to take that right along with you into the spiritual realm. Okay? It's going to stay right there. It's going to stay right there. Pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let me enhance this so you all can see it. What is the meaning of lokas? Well, loka is a Sanskrit term meaning world or a particular division of the universe. Okay? Because remember, on this slide, I said, accordingly, you function in one of the astrolokas until the impetus of those chakras is expended. So that means you'll be in a lower type world, a lower division of the universe. That's the hell. And how did you get there? Well, quite frankly, from having low vibrations, from using and operating in your lower chakras a majority of the time that you were here, right before you died. We're not talking about years ago. We're not talking about what you did so far in the past. We're not talking about that. We're talking about when you leave here. At the time that you leave, what were you operating in then? What were you operating in then? That's what we're talking about. See, this is why they tell us that people can change, they can be saved and all of that, right? When they say people can be saved, they can change their ways and they've been anointed, they've been baptized and all that. Well, basically, when people change their thinking, when they change their behavior and they try to rise into their higher selves, yeah, that's changing. That's saving yourself from being in a low vibrational place and space when you leave here. That's saving you from the hell that you could have created in your own making. And you can be heaved up, meaning you can be in a higher place, in a heaven. Okay, well, the first point is there is a continuity of consciousness between the consciousness you're in at the time of death and the period preceding the time of death to what you experience after death. It doesn't radically change. You take that low vibrational right along with you. It's not going to be left here and you're just going to get rid of it. It's going right along with you. Hell is both a state of mind and a place. Okay, meaning you can be in a hellish state of mind while you're in your physical body. You can be in your lower chakras and constantly facing rage and violence and all of that. Some of you who always want to fuss, fight, and argue, or people that do, they are in hell. Hell is the lower chakras. Okay, and how do you get there? Well, you often walk yourself right into these situations. That's what you do. That's what you do. You walk yourself right into these situations. And you bring it upon yourselves. Some people don't want to accept that, but it's the absolute truth. Now, therefore, if you die in that state of mind, you're going to feel, or you're going to go into a certain realm, a certain loka. You function in one of the astral lokas accordingly. So you go into the lower astral loka, which is called Naraka or hell, because that's the state of consciousness that you're in, you see. That's where you end up, because that's where you took yourself. That's where you placed yourself. No one sent you there. The Most High didn't send you there. That's where you chose to go. That's what you did. If you're low down, dirty, violent, always threatening people, doing low down stuff, being nefarious and all of that, well, you go exactly into the spiritual realm being that same way. And I guarantee you it's nothing nice. That's why these entities come back in this realm and they're mad and angry and trying to do all sorts of wicked things to people because they're miserable. Don't forget, misery does love company. Now, you don't go there because of one action that you did when you were 12 years old or something like that. No, you're going there because it's your dominant state of consciousness. Okay, it's the habit. It's the habitual states of consciousness you're experiencing in the couple of years before you pass on that determines where you will go. Funny thing is, we never know when we're going to leave here. Some of you could be saying to yourself, oh, well, I can just keep being low down and dirty and keep doing BS. I can just keep on doing whatever I want to do because I'll just straighten up right before I die. Funny thing is, you don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when you're going to leave this place. All right? So it would behoove you to do the best that you can while you're here, while you still have breath in your body. Because at the end of the day, well, you find out tomorrow that you only got 6 months to live and you've been doing dirt all your life. You want to try to get it together then. Is that really going to help you? What were you doing for the majority of your time? Likewise, heaven is also a state of mind and a place. Because we can be in the higher chakras, you see, be conscious of God and everyone while we're alive. And then if we pass away in that state, we simply go into the higher second world locus, because that's the state of consciousness that we're in. Okay, the kingdom of God is within you. You can put yourself in heaven just by the way you think, the way you behave, and the things that you do. The things that you believe. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, in all of Guru Diva's, and for those of you who don't know who Guru Diva is an American Hindu religious leader, okay, and his writings about transition, okay, I've read many of them, and he focuses mainly on consciousness, secondarily on pain control. Because if you have too much pain when you can't be, then you can't be in a higher realm, a higher state of consciousness. Because you see, pain, too much pain, you are then incoherent. So you're trying to balance maintaining a high state of consciousness with the difficulties you're experiencing, and because you're aiming for a higher inner world. That's the goal at that point. And that's why Guru Diva says it's always ideal if someone is going to pass that they're at home with their family. Okay, and families creating a religious vibration in the home and in the room and chanting and so forth, because you're giving them peace of mind. You're making them feel more at ease, even though they could be in pain. They will feel so much better, more relaxed, right? And peaceful if the family is around them. Someone alone in a hospital and writhing in pain and suffering, they're going to be low vibrational when they leave here, 9 times out of 10. You see, this helps you end up in the highest loka, okay? And like I said, a different world, particular part of the division or division of the universe. So that's how that works. For those of you who may be wondering. And that's why a lot of people want to take their loved ones home. They want to take them home when they're ill. They don't want to leave them in the hospital by themselves. A lot of pain is suffered in the hospital. It's a low vibrational place, period. 9 times out of 10, I've had ghostly encounters with angry spirits while I've been in the hospital, just so you know. Quite frankly, it's nothing nice. That's all I'm saying. But some people, you know, they don't realize that, and they just think their loved ones can just stay in the hospital till they pass away or whatever. But if you can afford to, and you can, it's best to have them around you. At least be in the hospital visiting them or have them at home. Now, the higher states of consciousness relate to the crown and third eye chakras. The 33 vertebrae of the spine are the stairway to heaven, which means heaved up. This is the allegory of Jacob's ladder in the Bible. For those of you who don't read the Bible, those of you who never went to church, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, because, hey, at the end of the day, I don't go now. I was taught to go when I was a kid. I had no choice. But for those of you that don't read the Bible and haven't grown up in the church, Jacob's ladder is a story in the Bible, okay, a ladder leading up to heaven that was first featured in the Bible when they spoke about it. It was Jacob, okay, he was fleeing from his brother Esau, and he had this dream of a ladder that was going up into the skies. Okay, this is why Jesus supposedly died at age 33 also, because of the 33 vertebrae of the spine. And I told you all that before. This 33 vertebrae of the spine is represented in the Bible by the staircase, the stairway to heaven. Okay, that's what that represents. Jacob's ladder, the same thing. All right, Jacob's ladder is a ladder leading to heaven that was featured in a dream the biblical Jacob had during his flight from his brother Esau in the book of Genesis, chapter 28, if you need to reference that. This is all symbolic of raising the Kundalini energy, okay, or Christ within energy, aka rising into your higher self, as I have told you all numerous times before. And you can see this serpent going up the person's back of the 33 vertebrae of the spine. You can see it right here. It's the caduceus, the medical symbol, with the 2 snakes intertwined, okay, with the angel wings at the top. That's what that represents. And you know, snakes, serpents, cobras, those were representative of wisdom and royalty. Back in the days, the Egyptian pharaohs wore those on their heads. Egyptian pharaohs wore snakes on their crowns as a symbol of royalty and power. What do snakes symbolize? Well, and here's the thing. The reason I bring this up is because, when they talk about raising the Kundalini energy, Christ within energy, rising to your God-like self, when they talk about this, they speak of they talk about the serpent rising up the 33 vertebrae of the spine and then activating the pineal gland. Now, for those of you who've ever opened your third eye, I don't know how your experience was, but I remember exactly when mine opened, and I literally was already at the doctor's office talking to the nurse, and she was taking my vitals, checking my blood pressure and all of that. And I said to her, I said, "Do you see anything moving on my forehead?" She said, "No." I said, "It feels like there's a snake slithering under my skin right here." And she was like, "You need to quit reading all that stuff." She thought I was crazy. But at the end of the day, my third eye was opening. Now, right then at that moment, I didn't realize that. But later on, I realized that's exactly what it was. Why did it feel like a snake was slithering? Well, that's because that's what that energy feels like when it travels up the spine, goes across the vagus nerve or the pneumatic nerve and touches the optic thalamus. And then it opens up the pineal gland. It activates it. That's what it feels like. At least that's what it felt like for me. It literally felt like a snake. So I absolutely see why they use the snakes to symbolize that and why the Egyptian pharaohs had the snakes on their crowns. Now the Baphomet. The Baphomet has the goat head. That's symbolic of your animal nature because just like our head, okay, which is what we call heaved up. Right? That's why when you walk and you're happy, you have your head up. They say you got your head in the clouds and all those type of things, right? Happy people look up, have their noses in the air. You say I'm on cloud nine and all of that. But the Baphomet goat head, not the human head, that is representative of the animal nature of humans. Also, as above, so below. Now, the right hand on Baphomet pointing upward represents ascension. And the left hand pointing downward represents descension. So ask yourself, are you descending, going down, or are you ascending? Are you ascending or descending? Do you vibrate high or low? Are you operating from your lower chakras or your higher chakras most of the time? Do you live in a hell of your own making, or do you reside in heaven where there's peace, love, and tranquility? You should ask yourself these questions. Remember, allow your souls, SOLES, to guide your souls, SOULS. So with that all being said, I felt that before. I thought that was a nerve thing, says Reggie. Yeah. You see, Reggie, you probably were opening, your third eye was probably opening and you didn't even realize it, just like I did. Terry said Baphomet is what the Illuminati worships. Yes. Moloch, Baphomet, Baal, all of these nefarious deities. And they don't call themselves Illuminati. That's what we call them. But they actually call themselves the initiated because they have to get initiated to be in. Okay? Mr. Hotel said, excellent PowerPoint. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so I hope everyone got something out of this. Listen, tomorrow, I'm going to have a members only live tomorrow for you guys. I was slacking last week because I was working on some other stuff, but I'm going to make up for it because this week, every day, we're going to have a members only live. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Project Bluebeam. Okay, so get ready for that. We're going to be talking about Project Bluebeam tomorrow. Orange Moon says, very enlightening video, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. So with that all being said, you're welcome, Claudette. So with that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, prosperity. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And also make sure, Rick says, yes, Queen, this morning is very informative. Also, the other videos are on box. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. So listen, thank you, Terry. Okay, so now listen, with that all being said, make sure that you're telling your friends and family about this information. Each one teach one. You may be the one to wake up someone who doesn't understand, esoteric knowledge, who doesn't understand about allegories, who doesn't know that some of the things in the Bible shouldn't be taken literally. You may be the one to wake them up. So share the knowledge with people. But if you're talking to someone and they're looking at you crazy, they don't seem receptive to it, then you should probably end the conversation. There's no need to get into an argument, because some of these people, especially some of those devout Christians, they don't want to hear it. They believe the Bible is literally as it is written, and they don't think about any of the things that were mistransliterated, any of that. So you should not argue with them. Okay? Should not argue with them at all. If they don't want to hear what you're saying, just leave the conversation. Don't engage. Don't let them lower your vibrations. Okay, with that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. Until next time, beloveds, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.